Hi everyone, this is Esther Camacho with the McAllen Public Library, and welcome to another genealogy research tip. Tips for getting started. This is for those who have never done the family tree, so I'm hoping that these quick tips will help you to get started. So, how do you go about doing it? Well, you're going to start with what you know. You're going to write down information of names, days, places, relationships of those people that you know about. This is where you're going to start interviewing your relatives and saying, hey, can you tell me about some of my ancestors? Who are they? Where do they live? Do you know their dates? Tell me about other distant cousins. All the information that you can gather. You want to know with what you know. And then from there, once you have put all those pieces together, then your research goal goes from known to the unknown. Here is where you're going to try to uncover those relatives that you don't know, those ancestors that you want to go back those several generations. And same thing, you're going to try to find their names, their dates, places that they lived, where they died, where they got married, and make sure that you record the relationships. And in order to do that, you're going to need a couple of forms. You're going to need a ancestral chart or a pedigree chart. You'll see a form very similar to this. And this is where you're going to start with yourself. You'll always start with you. And then you'll include your parents and your grandparents, and you'll go further back as much as you can on this. And you'll enter all the information that you do know. And then you can either place a question mark or highlight an area of those that you need an answer to. Maybe you don't know where your grandparents got married, or you don't know the year. So you kind of highlight that, and that's one of your research goals. So you need to find that information. And from there, you're going to need a family group sheet, very similar to this one. You're going to include each family generation that you're going to do. You'll include the father and the mother and all the siblings. And it's really important to try to get as many siblings as possible because sometimes it is through the siblings that you can go further back. And that's even happened with my experience. I was giving up on one family unit where all the children, I was getting all their baptismals, and nobody said who the grandparents were, where they were from. It just said, this child was baptized and these are the parents. And I was just kind of going, how am I going to find out how to go further back if they don't give me a clue as to where they're from? So the youngest child, and I wasn't looking at, big hopes. I happened to find his record, and lo and behold, they listed where they were from, where they originally were from, who the grandparents were, and great-grandparents on both sides. So it can be with one of the siblings that you get your biggest clue, and with that I was able to go several generations back. And it's really important to have a research log. You want to document everywhere you've been, whatever you looked at, whether it's a folder of information, a book, or a website that you pull some information. There's a lot of digital stuff online. You need to record that. If you're searching through it and you don't find anything, you make a note that, yes, I was looking for my great-grandmother. This is her name. But I looked through all these records. I didn't find anything. So you want to record that, and it happens to us seasoned genealogists as well, where we're forgetting to note on our own research logs, and then we come back and we find out we're researching that same person again and realizing I've already done it, or I already found the answer, and yet I did not include it in my research log. So there went a couple of hours really for the same person that you had already found an answer for. So make sure that you record everything that you do. And just some recording conventions. Make sure that when you write the date, make sure you put like the 28th of January of 1849. And you can put JAN for January, but you make sure that you put it between the numbers. You put the day, the month, and the year. And make sure with the year that you actually use the 4 digits. Do not say just 49. You want to say 1849. And for the women, make sure maiden names only. Make sure that you include the maiden names. Do not put the married name. If you don't know the maiden name, leave it blank. You can actually just write unknown, unknown last name, or just put a question mark. Again, just leave it blank. That's another research goal that you'll need to find that maiden name. And spell out dates, states and countries, counties as well, because you know that uh, some towns there you'll find the name of that town in all different states. So you want to make sure that it's Texas or it's Oklahoma. You want to make sure that you have the correct state. Now, one final tip. I know a lot of us like to go online and look at other people's family trees. I do it myself. But when you look at that information, do not take it as a fact. It's very tempting to say, hey, well, they've already gone back 15 generations. I'm sure they did their work. Let me just grab it and put it to mine. And then somebody later on comes back and questions you, and you go, oh, well, I got it online. And then you find out that the information is incorrect. It's a very bad habit that people are doing, and it's a shame that they're just taking the easy way. But you want to make sure that you don't rely on that information, but that you use it as a guide and you verify it and make sure it's correct. I've encountered people, and I've even asked them, why is that child in this family unit when all the research I've done does not indicate that child belongs in this family? And they'll go, no, we're right. And I was going, well, I'm still questioning as to why that child is there. And they go, so what's the problem? And I'm going, well, the mother was 75. So how could you have a child when she's already 75? And that's something that you need to look at. And I said, perhaps she adopted that child. I said, that I can understand, but to say that she gave birth to that child is a different story. But they were adamant that she gave birth at 75. So, you want to verify that information. And let me just give you a few suggested readings. We do have these books at the library. You're welcome to check them out. The first one is called Practical Genealogy, 50 Simple Steps to Research Your Diverse Family History. Another one is called The Family Tree Problem Solver. If you run into brick walls, this may be able to help you with that. Sometimes ancestors are hard to find. I've got one that I know was from another planet, and he got dropped off and got picked up and sent right back to where he came from because I can't find him anywhere. And he's one of those that I'm determined to find an answer to what happened. When I spoke to some of his descendants, they said, well, he died. And I'm going, well, yeah, I know he died, but where is he buried? Where was he from? And nobody seems to know. So using a book like this is very helpful to give you some clues as to how to find that hard to find ancestor and those brick walls. Another one is called The Streetwise Guide to Doing Your Family History. It is also a good one to look at just to give you those tips and suggestions and to help further your knowledge into doing genealogical research. Well, thank you for watching. I hope I've given you some wonderful tips to get started. Make sure to add a comment below and to like us on Facebook. So next time on Genealogy Research Tips, since we'll be celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month, we are going to be looking at online resources for Hispanic genealogy. So this is Esther Camacho with the McAllen Public Library, and I hope to see you soon.